This theory looks at child's development within the context of the system of relationships that form his or her environment. Bronfenbrenner's 1990 theory defines complex layers of environment, each having an effect on the child's development. This theory has recently been renamed bioecological systems theory to emphasize that a child's own biology is a primary driver of his or her development. The interaction between factors in the child's maturing biology, their intermediate family, community environment, and the societal landscape fuels and steers his or her development. Changes or conflict in any one layer will ripple throughout other layers. To study a child's development, we must look not only at the child and their immediate environment, but also at the interaction of the larger environment as well. The microsystem. This is a layer closest to the child and contains the structures which the child has direct contact. The microsystem encompasses the relationships and interactions a child has with his or her immediate surroundings. Structures in the microsystem include family, school, neighbourhood, or childcare environments. For example, let's take a look at Kenyan runners and the influence of their environment using Bronfenbrenner's microsystem theory. At this stage, I looked at a research paper called Demographic Characteristics of Elite Kenyan Endurance Runners. This was published by Onyewere et al. 2006. The aim of this study was to compare the demographic characteristics of elite Kenyan runners with those of general Kenyan population. Research was conducted which fit into Bronfenbrenner's microsystem theory. A key aspect of the research paper was to determine the distance travelled to school by national and international runners and non-runners when they were children. The graph clearly shows us a greater percentage of national and international athletes travelled distances over 10 kilometres to school when compared to non-runners. This was on foot, either walking or running. However, it is still debatable that the controversial Nike trainer helped Kipchoge in Vienna's marathon, who became the first person to run the 26.2 mile distance in 1 hour 59 minutes and 40 seconds. One aspect of innate biology that clearly helps the Kenyan runners is the shape of their bodies. Kalenjin have particularly thin ankles and calves, a body build common to Nilotic tribes who grow up near the equator. The results of this study suggest that elite Kenyan athletes have distinct genetic and environmental characteristics compared to the general Kenyan population. The majority of Kenyan runners were from the Rift Valley province. These findings support suggestions that the success of Kenyan runners is in some way linked to their close proximity to the Rift Valley. These results suggest that the important role for biological and environmental factors in the success of elite Kenyan distance runners. More modern child development theories accept that both a child's biology and environment play a role in change and growth. Theories now focus on the role played by each and the extent to which they interact. Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory also focuses on the quality and context of the child's environment. He states that as a child develops, the interaction within these environments becomes more complex. This complexity can arise as the child's physical and cognitive structures grow and mature. So given the nature continues on a given path, how does the world that surrounds the child help or hinder continued development? Bronfenbrenner says that technology has changed our society, and while we are taking great pains to safeguard the physical environment from the damage done by technology, we have spent no resources to provide similar safeguards to the damage done to our societal environment. The economy has shifted from an industrial model to a technological model, yet the patterns of the workplace have continued to rely on the factory work ethic. Parents are expected to work a schedule that revolves around the factory whistle. Even though they may work in a high-tech office, the technology that enables workers to be free of manual labour should also free them from the time and place boundary. Yet our work ethic demands more face time, not less. As women entered the workforce, they too were subject to the same demands. Family life in this country has taken a back seat to the needs of the workplace. Interestingly, the current global coronavirus pandemic has resulted in a dramatic shift away from physical presence at work to working from home. It will be interesting to see whether this change in working pattern will last after the pandemic settles and helps us realise that we can use technology to rebalance our life away from work. This drives the central debate back to nature versus nurture. Bronfenbrenner's bioecological systems theory, as well as Engel's biopsychosocial model. Both these models outline the importance of specific factors which contribute towards human development, leading towards sporting success. However, to help drive the sporting success, I have reached the conclusion that even if you have sprung from the sporting gene pool and are in the perfect environment, none of this will be worthwhile or achievable without hard work and a good support network. Success in sport, or indeed any other field, is a result of a complex interplay of factors described by both Bronfenbrenner and Engel in their respective models. Children developing within a sporting environment still require nurturing correctly from a young age. The influence and time spent with your parents will be critical. Schools and teachers should work to support the primary relationship and to create an environment that welcomes and nurtures families. The recent coronavirus outbreak has already hugely disrupted the sporting world, with all major and non-major sporting events currently being cancelled. The spread of the virus could further affect talent identification and talent development processes. For example, further spread of the virus into the African countries such as Kenya, which are less well prepared to cope with the pandemic. Due to a lack of resources and infrastructure compared to European and North American countries, will result in greater morbidity and mortality in these nations. Individuals who are currently training to become elite sportsmen, not only in Africa but around the world, at this stage will have had to either stop training or change the way they are training, and also are at risk of being infected. Globally, the impact of the virus has already been huge. Time will tell how it will impact future sports development and performance of athletes at all levels.